How's everybody doing today? It is August 18th, Tuesday. And this is the Chase Carter Concept Podcast. I'm a little perturbed and annoyed by, just people in general. But there are a few things that I need to... So the first part of this podcast is going to be about video games. So if you're not a video game fan, fast forward about 20 minutes, because I'm going to go on a rant that is annoying me, has been annoying me for the past week since Halo Infinite got delayed. And everybody is saying that this is a catastrophic event for Microsoft. So fast forward 20 minutes. Everyone is saying this is a huge deal that Microsoft delayed Halo until 2021. It's a huge deal. It's not. It's not even a big deal at all. Because people are saying, well, why buy an Xbox One X? The people who buy the new systems at launch are usually the hardcore people that are going to buy it anyway. Now later, a year, 2, 3, you start to get the casual fans that go over and play their friend's system. Now, but I wouldn't say all of them are hardcore fans, but a good majority. They're going to buy it pretty much anyway if you make a halfway decent console and there's going to be good games to play. They're going to play Cyberpunk. They're going to play the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They're going to play the new Madden. They're going to play the new NBA 2K. They're going to want to play all these games on the best systems. So they're going to play those games anyway. Now, does it deter you a little bit? Yeah, but if you're an Xbox... but I don't know I don't believe it is a huge monumental deal that will derail anything, because you're still going to get a Halo game. Now, you might not buy it, the Xbox. Say if you were waiting specifically for Halo, specifically for Halo, you're going to get it the Xbox 2, 3, 4, 5 months later. Okay, so they still get your money, and then they still get your money from the game as well. So what's the big difference here? And people are acting like the Xbox One X has to have an exclusive killer app to launch with. They don't, people. They don't. No system, and I repeat, no system has launched with a game that it has been critically remembered forever, besides Nintendo systems. And they're in third place. People don't even think about them. The Nintendo Switch, like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, amazing game to launch with. The Mario games, amazing to launch with. But like the PlayStation has never in its life launched with a game that people still consider great today, or that changed their lives. The Xbox, besides the first one with Halo, and that kind of changed the way people thought about first-person shooters in general on a console. And I want to go over. I brought up a list. These are the lists. Oh, the killer app, the PlayStation. You remember PlayStation because you remember the great games that came out 2 or 3 years after the system was released. So PlayStation, that great system, one of the best systems of all time. Resident Evil, did it launch with that? Sure didn't. Remember all those good games? Unbelievable. But anyways. So this is the list for the PlayStation. When it launched in North America on September 9th, 1995. Air Combat, Battle Arena Toshinden, ESPN Extreme Games, look at that killer app, Kalik the DNA Imperative, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, cool game, I play that, Power Serve 3D Tennis, The Raiden Project, Rayman. Now that's a game that's still going on today. That's still a franchise that's today. But is that the game you buy a PlayStation for? No. Ridge Racer. These are fun games for little kids nowadays, but not like the killer game that everybody remembers. Street Fighter, the movie. Total Eclipse Turbo Twisted Metal. I'll give them that. That's a cool game. Is it still going on today? No, it's not. Fun game for its time, but killer app. I remember playing that game constantly, but it wasn't. I don't remember that game fondly. Like it, you know what I mean? It wasn't a video, like a genre-defining game. Are there any car combat games today that are hugely popular? No. And then Zero Divide. Those are the games. And then PlayStation 2. North America released on the 26th of October, year 2000. And these are more games, so I'm going to try to go through them quickly. Armored Core 2. DOA 2 Hardcore. Dynasty Warriors 2. ESPN International Track and Field. ESPN X Games Snowboarding. Eternal Ring. Evergrace. Fantavision. Gun Griffin Blaze. Kessen. Madden NFL 2001. Midnight Club. MotoGP. NHL 2001. Orphan. Cue Ball Billiards Master. That's a really weird title just in general. Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. Ridge Racer 5. Silent Scope. Smuggler's Run. I always want to play that game. SSX. Street Fighter EX3. Summoner. Swing Away. Tekken Tag Tournament. Time Splitters. Unreal Tournament. Wild Racing. And X Squad. Silence, right? Now, some of these games are like, oh yeah, that was a cool game. Oh yeah, I remember playing that. But they're not these. They're not Marios. They're not the Halos. They're not the Last of Us. They're not God of Wars. They're not these games that inspire other games, and you see them. It's not the Grand Theft Autos. It's not the Red Deads. You know what I mean? So I'm not even going to go PlayStation Portable. And so here we go. From PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3. North America launch. September. I'm stupid. November 17th, 2006. Blazing Angel Squadrons of World War II. Call of Duty 3. Okay, not that popular of a game. I remember. I was there. It was still a popular game, but it was okay. Genji Days of the Blade. Madden 2007. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire. NBA 2K7. NHL 2K7. It's kind of funny. I completely forgot they made an NHL 2K game. Resistance Fall of Man was supposed to be their killer app. It wasn't. Ridge Racer 7. Tiger Woods PGA Tour 07. Tony Hawk Project 8. Untold Legends Dark Kingdom. Where's the killer app? You'd say Resistance was a good game. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, okay. Call of Duty 3, okay. But remember, like, back then, when these new games came out, a lot of them didn't have features that the old system had. I remember playing the Maddens. I remember playing the NBA 2K games. Those games had a lot of features taken out of the new new gens, the new systems game. It wasn't for a year or two after, then they started adding in all this stuff. I remember the smoke in Call of Duty 3 was awesome. But that was about it. Okay? Now, just scroll down here to the launch of the PlayStation 4. This is the only system that was launched first in North America before it was released in Japan. So this is November 15th, 2013. Angry Birds Star Wars. Remember that killer app? So stupid that people think. Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, Contrast, FIFA 14, Flower, Forced, Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition, Just Dance 14, Killzone Shadowfall. Remember that game was going to be... it wasn't? Oh, okay, cool. Knack, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Madden NFL 25, NBA 2K14, Need for Speed Rivals, Resogun, Skylanders Swap Force, Sound Shades, Super Motherload. These games, all this sounds like the Skylanders Swap Force and Super Motherload sound like porn titles. Trine 2 Complete Story. And I don't get that. That's PlayStation. Okay, that's PlayStation. So you got PlayStation. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Xbox. And Xbox isn't better at all. It's still, remember, all the same games. So all the 2K games are going to be the same. All the Tiger Woods games, basically all the sports games, most of the racing games are going to be the same. It's loading here. It's taken forever. Okay, so now Xbox launched in North America, 15th of November, 2001. I remember this. I was in high school. I waited outside a Walmart to grab this. 4x4 Evo 2, Air Force Delta Storm, Arctic Thunder, Cell Damage, Dark Summit, Dead or Alive 3, Fusion Frenzy, Halo Combat Evolved. So that's the one app that is still regarded as a great game today. Mad Dash Racing, Madden 2002, NASCAR Heat 2002, NASCAR Thunder 2000. Can't believe they released 2 NASCAR games. NHL Hits 2002, Oddworlds, Munch's Odyssey, Project Gotham Racing, Shrek, Test Drive Off-Road Wide Open. Another porn name. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2X. World Surf. all of these titles could be. Okay. So then you go. Halo Combat Evolved. Okay. Launch. Xbox 360. The 22nd of November 2005. Amped 3. Call of Duty 2. Actually, it was Call of Duty 2 that had the good smoke. Call of Duty 3. Well, it still had the good smoke, but I remember Call of Duty 2. The smoke was like, wow, look at that smoke, dude. Just throw smoke bombs. Condemned Criminal Origins. Not a great game. I mean, good game. Not a great game. FIFA 06. Road to FIFA World Cup. Gun. Cameo Elements of Power. I like that game. I remember it. Madden 06. NBA 2K6. NBA Live 06. NBA Live 05 was the best one. NHL 2K6. The dunk contest needs to come back where you actually do the dunk instead of the Guitar Hero pressing buttons at the right time. BS. They had the perfect dunk contest in the 2K games, and they completely ruined it. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Good Need for Speed. I remember playing that game. Perfect Dark Zero. Wow, that was supposed. Remember that? That was supposed to be the first-person shooter. Oh, we don't have a Halo, but we have Perfect Dark. Peter Jackson's King Kong. Project Gotham Racing 3. Quake 4. Ridge Racer 6. Any of those games you remember as a killer app? No, they were okay. They were fun to play until the developers got to know the system better and released great games. Xbox One. Remember that launch? That was terrible. Ruined everything. Ruined my whole Xbox life. No. The 22nd of November, 2013. Angry Birds Star Wars. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That was a good game. Battlefield 4. Good game. Ghost. Good game. All these games are good. They're not great. They're not life-changing games. They're doing the same thing that their previous game did, except a little bit better. Dead Rising 3. FIFA 14. Fighter Within. Forza Motorsport 5. Just Dance 14. Lego Marvel Superheroes, Madden NFL 25, NBA 2K14, NBA Live 14, Need for Speed Rivals, Rise Son of Rome, Skylanders Swap Force, Zoo Tycoon, and Zumba Fitness World Party. Those are the games. So the best game, I would say, for the Xbox One that was released, I would say, if you're into multiplayer games, Battlefield 4. If you want a sports game, obviously NBA 2K 14. Assassin's Creed Black Flag if you're into single player games and want a good story. Yeah, Rise Son of Rome was fun for a second, but that was pretty much it. So let's go back. Best game for the 360 that was launched. Like I said, if you want a basketball game, it's 2K. It's not live. Racing game, Need for Speed, good game. Call of Duty 2, I would say, is the first-person shooter you want to go after. Yeah, Condemned Criminal Origins if you want like a single player. Gun was fun for a little. You'd rent Gun. Let's see here. Now for the original Xbox, obviously the best game, period, is Halo. Sports games, I would say Madden. There's no 2K back then. This is when like Microsoft Studios had their own sports games and all that stuff. Remember, Sony had it was like NFL Game Day. Oh, what was the NBA Fever? No, it was NFL Fever and Inside Drive. I want to say NBA Inside Drive. If I remember it off the top of my head, was it like the Microsoft sports games? And that was hard playing multiple or difficult to get used to. But yeah, it's Halo. It's Halo. Project Oddworld, if you want like a silly first person thing. So as human beings, do we not remember what happens in the past? Bringing it back to a psychological, philosophical point of view. I don't understand. The launch of the system is not important. Is not that important. You can have a terrible launch, but it depends on why it's terrible. If it's terrible because you alienate the fans like they did with the Xbox One, when they said it was always online, you can't share your games even if it's a disc. Like once you put the disc in the system, that disc basically is no good anymore except for that one system. You can't share it. You can't buy used games. It was more of like a restrictive system. But it had a lot of bells and whistles that people didn't care about, but like. If the Xbox One Connect was just basically a microphone in the controller saying Xbox, turn on Netflix. And then it'd be fine. It wouldn't be this huge deal. But because they made you do it, because they forced you, it had to be always online. People are like, what? Don't tell me how to play my games. If I want to unplug everything from my system, granted, you have to leave the power plug in and the AC port and the HDMI port. Other than that, don't tell me how to play my games. You make a good system that can run good games, and I'll buy it. And I'll have lots of fun with my friends. If you offer me a service that's good, I'll buy it and play it. That's all you have to worry about. Don't alienate your fans. It's like, we have a system for the people who want to play offline. It's called the Xbox 360. A big middle finger to Xbox fans. And we, as consumers, dictate what sells. So if nobody buys the Xbox One, and they're like, holy shit, these sales are terrible. What did the customers actually want? Well, let's go back to the video. What did actual gamers want? We just want a system that doesn't overheat, that runs well. Who cares what it looks like? I don't care that the PlayStation 5 looks like a giant modem standing up. Does it play games? Is it reliable? That's it. I don't care how it looks. The Xbox Series X looks like it's about as big as two GameCubes stacked on top of each other. And can I put a disc in and it plays a cool game? Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Take my $500 every 8 years or so, 7-8 years. It's fine. I'm probably not going to buy a PlayStation because I'm already invested in the Xbox ecosystem. Got Xbox Live. I don't know if I could afford two systems with two accounts and all that, but it's too much. It's too much. I'm already invested. I got the Game Pass, which is awesome. Me and my girl play games. It's cool. It's like with the PS3. The PS3, I didn't have a PS3. When the PS4 came out, my friend, he had a PS3. He didn't really want it anymore. I borrowed it for a few months, played all the exclusives. In like a 2 or 3 month period, I played all the Uncharted's. I played the God of Wars. I got to play the revamped one. Played the Last of Us's. I still got to play the second Last of Us. I want to play the Spider-Man game. So when the PS5 comes out, I'm going to borrow my friend Ray's PlayStation 4. And he better let me. He's one of the 5 people that listen to this thing. So it's just really weird how people are freaking out and saying the Xbox One is done. It's not. Or the Xbox Series X is done. It's not. Not even remotely. Because in a year from now, when we have more games for it, nobody remembers the launch of a system. Unless the system is just bad like the Xbox One was. Nobody remembers those launch games. Everyone's like, hey, let's wait a year or two till the really great games come out. Then we're fine. And that's what's weird about NBA, the 2K charging an extra $10 for the next gen version. Dude, we've seen your games for the next gen, and they always have less features. They never have more features. They never do. So what are these extra... Oh, we put extra production into the... No. You're just going to run things at higher resolution. Is there some like AI system that's better? Are the players going to be smarter? And do like realistic defensive rotations? Are there going to be... Is there more animations? Like what's going on? Could you explain it other than there's going to be next generation? Explain what's new. And then we, as informed customers, can make a decision. Oh, that's it. That's 21 minutes. I'm done. I apologize. Now we're going to talk about just random news articles. Random news articles. Let's see here. In my notes, I have the Halo delay. And the NBA is back. I'm going to go off for another 20 minutes. Probably about the NBA. One of my friends, Ben, called me up to... I said he was my friend. Damn it. He's not my friend. He's an idiot. Every time I talk to him, it's a plight. I take a drink of water. Okay. No edits. I'm tired of people editing things to make themselves sound smarter. I'm going to remain unedited and stupid. So my friend Ben called me up, and this is a conversation him and I had. And he's at work. He's a correctional officer. He works with prisoners, and so during his lunch, he says it's his lunch, but I don't think it's his lunch. I think he's on the clock, still working, and he's calling me up. Oh, I got a phone call. Let's see who this is. Hello? And they hung up on me. Look at that. See? Even random phone numbers. A 402 number from Nebraska. Anyways, so my friend Ben calls me up. He's supposed to be guarding criminals, but he's not. He's talking to me about how the NBA is weak now, and it's easier to score. They took the physicality out of it. And he's talking about the hand-checking rule, and now you can't even put a forearm on a player. How it just used to be rougher and more physical back in the day. And I told him, that doesn't make the game better, Ben. You want to see people who are skilled, right? Not just bigger and stronger than everybody. So Shaq got to a point where he was just bigger and stronger than people, and he would just bowl over people in front of him. Just run people down. So if you were a normal size 7-footer, you would be thrown into the first row. And I don't, as a fan, I don't want to see that. I want to see someone who like you can. I in my head, I think you should be able to bump someone obviously to a point, but if it's excessive, if you just ram your shoulder right through them and dislodge them from their position, like in an exaggerated sense, then that should obviously be illegal. And if you're not into sports, fast forward 20 minutes. Okay. Like hand checking. I don't want a big, strong guy grabbing the offensive player and dictating where he can go based on if the defender is strong enough. Because then people are just going to be working out and getting bigger and stronger. And then they're the dominant player. I want basketball skills. Now, if you become bigger and stronger and more skillful, but that's still happening today regardless. People say, oh, Steph Curry couldn't play back in the day. He's like, yeah, he could. He's still shooting from 35 feet out, 30 feet out from the hash mark, and you have to come out and guard him. There's no era where shooting isn't going to be important. No era. In this era, like post-ups aren't that important until you get to the fourth quarter where people kind of get tired, the game slows down a little bit, and you need more simple shots. That's what I also want to know, if those mid-range jump shots are just as valuable, because when you're tired, you're not going to be as accurate. You're not going to shoot at a higher percentage later in the game. That's something else I wonder. I wonder the field goal percentages from quarter to quarter. And then say if you're like 35 minutes into a game, you have 35 minutes on a player, and then his field goal percentage at 30, does it go up or down later in the game? You would think he's more tired, but maybe he was just in there coaching, but he didn't play all out for those 35 minutes, because you have to bide your time. You have to save your energy. And certain plays you can't play all out playing that many minutes. But it's just real interesting hearing him talk about how it's easier to score now. And it's like, it's not. It's more difficult. It's way more difficult, especially with the defenses that they can have more defensive strategies, tactics to stop people now. They removed hand checking and like, okay, well, that's an advantage for the offensive player. We have to give the defense something. Well, what if they can play zone? What if they can play in between their man and then the guy with the ball? So Shaq, and this is what annoys me. At the basic level, Shaq understands, but I don't really think Shaq is an in-depth thinker about strategies and movement and all that stuff. His thing was, give me the ball, I'm going to go dunk it on this guy. He didn't really have he was a good passer out of the double team, but his okay, so this is my theory. Back in his day, and I'm like, this is my theory on something I never even got close to. When he would get double teamed, they would have to send a hard double team. So if a second guy came over to help Shaq, they would have to be within arm's reach of him. So that would spread the court out more. It would have to be a hard double. He couldn't soft double where some guy could just stand in the middle of the key and wait for Shaq to go middle, or send someone baseline and kind of just sit there in the key waiting for him to spin baseline. You had to send a hard double, and then he would drag. He would hold the ball up, then palming his hand looking for that open guy, and then the other four players would kind of spread out, and he would find Derek Fisher, Robert Horry, all those people, Mark Madsen. He'd find his other teammates who were wide open. And that was his read. There was no like Luka Doncic driving into the key, looking, two people like collapse on him looking for a guy at the right, looking to pass to the guy at the top of the the left arc, and then firing a bullet to the corner because he knows that guy in the corner is going to go where he's looking. There's no like reads beyond reads, like anticipating what the defense is going to do. Like this is their initial reaction, so I have to pretend I'm going to do that initial reaction and then pass to somewhere else. There's no 2 or 3 steps ahead of the game like there is now. So with more defensive tactics and strategies, there comes a higher level of thinking in the game. And the game is more up-tempo now than back in their day. Back in the 90s and the 2000s. Now, way back in like the 40s or 30s, they were even faster than today without the three-point line, which is insane. There was a high, possessions per 48 minutes. There were more possessions back then. And then I'm thinking, is that just because they sucked and turned the ball over a whole bunch? Because I don't remember watching it, but that's what the stats say. But you can't go by just stats. You have to watch the games. I'm not going back and watching that basketball. Ugh. I'll throw up. But then also you'll probably learn like an unstoppable move that they used to do that they don't do anymore. But it's interesting how people, I hear that at bars and stuff. When I go, oh, it's not as physical as back in the day, blah, blah. Is that because you watch YouTube highlights of Kurt Rambis getting his head taken off in what's one possession? Yeah, there's no extreme hard fouls anymore. Good. I don't want players getting injured because one guy can't stop another, so he just destroys them. Like the last really hard foul I saw on purpose that I remember, where the other guy didn't, was I think Andrew Bynum and I think it was JJ Barea, where Andrew Bynum just took him out of the air with like a hard forearm in the side. It wasn't a basketball play or anything. That stuck out like holy shit. I don't think they just had a flagrant foul. Al Horford fouled Jaylen Brown, and he fouled him with 2 arms. And the reason that they gave him a flagrant foul is because he fouled him with 2 arms instead of 1. Because he wrapped him up and then kind of let him go, and then Jaylen Brown fell to the ground and sold it and held his face for some reason. Got the flagrant. I would do the same thing, by the way, Jaylen Brown. If you're one of the 10 people, if you're 10% of my listener group, that was smart. But it's just real. Like, I don't think people remember history. I honestly don't. And it's as a person gets older and remembers these things, you see like the repeat things repeating. Oh, it wasn't like this back in the blah blah blah. It was more this, it was more that. It's like with the whole Xbox thing I rambled on for 20 minutes about. This is unbelievable. The Xbox Series X is going to have a terrible launch. It's going to cost Microsoft No, it's not. Unless they screw up the system launch, it's fine. They're still going to have good games that people are going to want to play. The best games that have, on average, have ever been made that people are going to love. They're going to have the sports games. They're going to have the Assassin's Creed. They're going to have Watch Dogs. They're going to have these games. And then when Halo comes out, then people are going to be like, oh, well, Sony doesn't have a game coming out right now that can match Halo. What are they going to... Then it's just going to switch. Like, what? Do we not remember what happened months, years, decades ago? It was just going to repeat the same thing over and over and over? Just like players... Just like... I remember when Dwayne Wade and LeBron James got crap from old... Well, they couldn't play in my day. Look at LeBron. He's not clutch. He couldn't play him in the first 8-10 years in the league. These guys, Dwayne Wade goes to the basket hard. But back in my day, he'd get hit even harder. And then Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony all talk about, well, it's gotten a lot softer. It's like, what are you talking? You have to be in the best shape now, period, to be an NBA basketball player, than in the history of the NBA. NBA players used to smoke and drink way back in the day at halftime. That stopped. People used to not work out in the offseason. They used to bag groceries. They used to have summer jobs. And that's what makes me laugh when the WNBA gets created and says, oh, well, we should get equal pay. Shut your mouths. We have to go to a different league overseas and get paid to make a living. Okay. Well, when the NBA started, when the NBA was in its infancy, people bagged groceries. People were mechanics. People were cooks. NBA players. Do you know why? Because they weren't getting paid a lot of money because a lot of people weren't watching it. Just how not a lot of people are watching you. So shut up and take your couple $100,000. You're in the top 1%. So shut up. Playing a basketball game, that's fun. You say it's fun, right? If you don't like what you do, don't do it. If you want to get paid more, that's fine. But don't compare yourself to a league that's been established for longer. And I'm going to go off on another rant about that. I'm trying to keep it straight, Chase. Keep it straight. Keep it straight. Okay. So, what was I even talking? Sorry, just the arrogance of people coming in after something's established and saying, I want that, what you have. Well, we've been working at this for over 100 years almost. And you want the fruits? We cared for the land, we planted the seeds, we grew the tree, and now you want to chop it down? You want pieces of it? It's like, fuck off. We should get paid as much as the men. And that's what's funny. Now, okay. This is what I want. This is what I want every WNBA player who listens to me, which is zero. Which, by the way, they can destroy me in basketball. They're better than me in basketball. That's fine. I'll admit that. I have no problem admitting that a woman's better than me at most. They're better than me at most things that I do. Now, the average woman I will destroy in a basketball game. Destroy. The average man, I would destroy them as well. Now, the average person who actually plays basketball, I would get killed. But that's not the point of all this. Especially just shooting. If you're going to have a shooting competition, I'll destroy 99% of the population on the planet. That's just because I'm an okay average shooter. Most people can't shoot a basketball. Most people can't even catch a basketball. That's fine. Just like how I'd get destroyed in any other sport at all. But we're talking about the sport that I'm halfway decent at as a 34-year-old white man. So the women want to get paid equal to the men, right? Okay, there is no WNBA. There's just the National Basketball Association. Okay? Come try out. Men and women can play together. Best players get picked up. Are you going to make the 15-person roster? My guess is no. No. You're not. So you would get paid if everything was equal. You want equal treatment, right? Women, WNBA players, you want everything. You want to be treated exactly the same as men. Are you sure? Because you would be getting paid $0 in the NBA. You'd have to go overseas and make your own league. And it's fine that you have your own league. It's good, but put the work in. You don't get to just jump to the top. You don't get to make as much as LeBron James. I see all these stupid memes. LeBron James makes $30 million. And then it's like every WNBA player's salary combined, $12 million. And you're combining something that everybody watches that affects the entire, a huge part of the world economy. You're comparing someone who can change a city and the businesses, the restaurants that were built around the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. The fact that it went so far down when he left and then so far up when he returned and then right back down. Like the buzz when the LA Lakers are good. And the amount of attention and business that it draws is unreal. It's the last time you heard the LA Sparks, the Chicago Sky. Now you have to slowly build a fan base. These Marvel movies, I'm going to go off on another tangent. These Marvel movies are big and amazing. People are like, out of nowhere, these superheroes. It's because they had a small fan base at first. Then that small fan base slowly grew over the decades. Slowly grew. And Hollywood would give them little bullshit movies here and there. And they're like, well, that sucked. That wasn't very good. The first good comic book movie was probably like the original Batman with Michael Keaton. And that was a huge success. And they spun like, oh, well, people are watch Batman, but they won't watch these other ones. But what if we make a good movie, put some money behind it, dedicate the timelines, tie it all together, and have this expanded universe? And then you're gonna have all the hardcore comic book fans going to that movie, and then they're gonna bring their friends. Then you're gonna make new fans. I was gonna say friends again. Then you're gonna make new friends. Then you're gonna have new fans, and you're gonna have generations. It's like Star Wars. The reason because there's multiple generations that are interested in that. Because if you make something good, those fans are going to tell their kids about it. They're going to tell their friends about it. And then their friends, a percentage, is going to fall in love with it just like they do. So you build this fan base slowly over time, and then you have the biggest thing ever in history. Nobody cares that Chris Evans is in these movies. Nobody cares that Hugh Jackman is in these movies. They care about Wolverine. They care about Iron Man. Like, Iron Man's dead. Spoilers. Like, in the comic books, they die all the time. They bring him back because people love these characters, and they will follow the characters throughout their entire lives. And it's just insane that the WNBA, go from Marvel movies to the WNBA, they don't get that. They just want what somebody else has. And that has a lot of parallel thinking or parallel ideas to people think, like on the left, thinking there should be like there shouldn't be any super rich people. It should all be universal income. There should be no private property. It's like the Marxist teacher, or the teacher who like kind of supported Marxism. It's like, well, it's not a really bad idea. It's like you don't get to decide what's fair for everybody. No one person does. We try to create a situation or a system that treats everybody equally. Granted, we're not going to have a perfect system because human beings are flawed, and people take advantage of every system known to man. So why do you get to decide what's fair for everybody? So like, you get paid, the WNBA players get paid a percentage of what the league makes. How much does the league make? Okay, then you get a percentage of that. You get 40, 30, 50, 50, whatever your split is. I don't even care to look it up because I haven't watched this thing. Now, do I respect WNBA players? Yes. All of them could destroy me in a basketball game and humiliate me and dunk on me. Their vaginas would be in my face. Instead of nuts, I'd have a vagina in my face. And I wouldn't like it because I don't want to get dunked on. But it's just weird how it's different. They don't get treated the same. And it's the same thing with the Olympics. I thought it'd be hilarious. It's like, men and women, women want to be treated the same? You guys are the same as men. Okay. Combine all of the competitions. Men run against women. Women run against men. You would never get another gold medal for the entire existence of the human race until they allowed people with bionic limbs to enter. Because then there's no difference between intelligence for men and women. It's a physical thing. So if you're a scientist and you can create a better robot leg to run faster, then you might start winning in the Olympics. But until then, you wouldn't touch the podium. You wouldn't even sniff it. The only time you would get gold medal and silver, or gold, silver, or bronze is if a man bought some jewelry for you, or you bought it yourself from working another job. So, women, I love you. You're amazing. You're better than us in a lot of ways, but we're not the same. Now we're equal. We should be treated equally. I agree with that. Of course. Of course. In society and all that. But say I'm playing a sport and I have 5 guys to choose from, or 5 women, I'm choosing the men. You're not going to get treated the same. Sorry. Just like when I show up, I'm a white, 6-foot, slow man who played basketball occasionally. Do you think I'm going to go to like a D1 college pickup game and get picked up at all? I get picked last all the time. I had some of my black friends pick me last on purpose because they know that the other black people are not going to pick me. They're going to pick people who don't look like me. And then they're going to get a halfway decent player last instead of just picking me up in the middle, like second or third. And depending on the competition, sometimes I wouldn't get picked up at all. Do you know why? Because I'm not that good. I understand that. And it's fair. Are you better than me? Yes. Then you get to play. It's unbelievable. And I don't get mad. And then I have a chip on my shoulder when I do get picked up by people who know me. And it's like, hey, you're pretty good for a white guy. I had one guy, because I like to talk and bullshit, just try to get under people's heads. He's like, all you can do is you play defense well and you can shoot. And I'm like, well, that's basketball. That's basketball. And I don't play defense well. I just try hard. If someone's athletic, I can't guard them. But if someone, a random person at the gym, I make them use their left hand. I force them into help defense. I do really basic, rudimentary basketball strategy, basketball ideas. Because usually people dribble 1 or 2 times to their left and then try to go back to their right. So you just force them left the whole time. Now, if they're bigger than you, then they're just going to finish up above you, and there's nothing I can do about that. Because I'm short when it comes to basketball. I'm tall when it comes to everyday life, but I'm short. I don't know why I'm talking about my basketball strategy right now. But that's how women get you. You start on one subject, and then you're on a completely different one. I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't understand. And maybe I'll never understand. Maybe we'll never understand the complexity of a woman's mind. And I don't want it to seem like I'm shitting on women. Because I'm not. There's plenty of women out there that understand men and women are not the same. And I don't want to say men and women aren't equal, because we are equal just in general. How treatment, all that, whatever. But as far as like a performance, the whole like obviously when it comes to a job, you should get paid based off your performance. I don't think like a male doctor who has 95% success rate when it comes to surgery or whatever, and then a woman say has 80% or 70%, I don't think they should get paid the same. The guy who has a more successful rate should get paid more. I don't know how exactly that works, and I'm sure it's a negotiation tactic, and women, historically speaking, are not good at negotiating on a general scale. Even my girlfriend was talking about it. She's like, yeah, she reads listens to these self-help things, and there's like, when's the last time you asked for a raise? You just suggested it. And she was like, oh yeah, I don't. I really don't. And it's like, well, men aren't that agreeable. So if you're less agreeable, you're going to be like, hey, this isn't fair. I want some more money. Or I'm going to go to a job that, you know what I mean? They have a more confrontational personality on average. Now, women are nicer. They're less confrontational. And that's like the yin and the yang from the whole thing. It's a double-edged sword. Something that's good for one thing could be bad for you in another thing. If I go around agreeing with everybody all the time, I'm going to be a pushover. I'm going to be pushed around. Oh, you want me to do that? Okay. I want everyone to like me. Okay. But if you stand up for yourself, you're going to get more. Now, you could also get knocked down even harder, depending on, your skills and your ability. But it's the people. It's like the WNBA, the NBA, when they didn't have a players' union, and they waited. The players waited for the All-Star game to happen, and that was like the big drawback then. It's on TV, whatever. It wasn't. All the games weren't televised how it is now. And they all got together and said, hey, we're not playing until you recognize our union, our players' union. We're not playing another second. And then he's like, unless you promise to sit down, talk to us after the season, and negotiate. And like it came down to like the story is, came down to like the last second. And then the NBA owners are like, okay, we have to. Now, if they kept playing basketball the way it was, they would never have gotten to this point where the NBA makes, LeBron James makes $34 million, or Chris Paul's going to make, what was Chris Paul's deal? Like it's in his like $40 million and then $44 next year. God bless him. Make your money. The NBA, the billionaire owners are making their money. And if they're not making money like year over year, the value of their teams go up exponentially every year. They're selling for $3-4 billion. Yeah, you should. If your team is worth $3 or $4 billion, you should pay a player $30-40 million, because they're making that much money for you. People all across the world are tuning in to watch the player that's on your team and elevating that platform. elevating your team and also elevating the league. I couldn't imagine watching another basketball league. It's like watching another. You're gonna watch another NFL? Really? You're gonna watch and be like, oh yeah, this is cool. There might be 10% of the roster. 10% of the rosters can actually play basketball. That's cool. Because a lot of people get overlooked and they're good. There's a lot of people from the XFL that turn out okay in the league, but there's not like an XFL star that comes to the NFL and dominates. Because the NFL has already looked at those guys. They're like, yeah, that guy's pretty good. He could be probably good in a certain system. And I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, really. My little vitamin water's pretty good. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Been going on for 30 minutes about women in sports. My friend Ben, who started this whole thing, talking about how physical. The NBA's not as physical as it used to be. Yeah, and you're still stupid, though. Okay, so the last 10 minutes are going to be fun news stories that I found interesting. So recently, at CNN.com, the headline reads, a 14,000-year-old puppy whose perfectly preserved body was found in Russia munched on a woolly rhino for its last meal. Scientists study the body of a perfectly preserved Ice Age puppy have made an unexpected discovery. A piece of what could be one of the last woolly rhinos. I didn't even know woolly rhinos were a thing. I want one. I want a miniature one, and I want it now. Yeah, so they excavated this. Okay, ads. Amazon Prime. Stop showing me these ads. Get out of here. Jesus Christ. This Amazon Prime ad just filled up my whole phone. Russian researchers first excavated the preserved furry body of the canine, which could be a dog or a wolf. They don't know. From a site, or maybe they do know, or it's a dog or a wolf, depending on how you look at it. From a site in Tumat, Siberia in 2011. Inside the 14,000-year-old puppy's stomach was a hairy piece of tissue. At first, scientists assumed it was a fragment to a cave lion because of its fine yellow fur. But tests by experts at Stockholm's Natural History Museum told a different... Oh, excuse me, burping all over the place. Told a different story. When they got the DNA back, it didn't look like a cave lion, the professor said. We have a reference database and a mitochondrial DNA from all mammals. So I'm guessing they have the DNA structure of all the present animals, and they base that so it's a woolly mammoth rhino. A woolly rhino, excuse me, woolly mammoth rhino. So it's kind of interesting. There's pictures of it on CNN. You can look at it. I like history. I like discoveries like that. It's pretty cool to me. What's this story? This nude article. Women economy. Oh yeah, that's just a whole... I don't know how you're going to... I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, famous alien hunting satellite. Okay, listen. This is it. I like this one. Blah, 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 if I can talk correctly. Famous alien hunting telescope slashed to pieces in mysterious midnight accident. Oh, what's going on? We're getting some New York Times UFO info, and now the biggest telescope that's trying to find UFOs gets destroyed? Ooh, what? The Arecibo, I gotta learn how to say that, observatory, a gargantuan telescope in Puerto Rico. My girlfriend's from Puerto Rico. In her DNA, she's really from Massachusetts. Famous for scouring the cosmos for asteroids and alien life, went quiet this week following a devastating accident that left the telescope's reflector dish in pieces. Approximately at 2:45 a.m. local time, the metal cable at the facility snapped, slashing through the radar dish and tearing open a 100-foot long, 30-meter hole. according to a statement from the University of Central Florida, which operates the National Science Foundation-owned facility. The snap cable also smashed through several other cables and platforms that support the dish, causing debris to rain down on the ground below, making it harder for technicians to access the site. We have a team of experts assessing the situation. We're going to fix it. Blah, 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 blah. Sounds like a conspiracy that nobody's talking about to me. UFO video. Fact or fiction? An airplane passenger videotaped mysterious oval. Nope. I'm not. That's a new one. That's a new one. I'm not. Nope. So let me see. This is what I don't like about this. I have like a Google doc app thing in the collections, and I favorite some pages so I can talk about them, and then it just doesn't work. Granted, it's free, but it should work. Like I didn't click on that. I clicked on favorite pages. Favorite pages. You click on something. You go to click on it. It shows the layout of the screen. You go to click on something, and then it jerks up. It moves forward. It moves up, and then you click on something you don't want to click on. So why have the initial screen set up there? It's unbelievable. And I don't like these headlines that just are I don't like headlines that are obvious and stupid. Because here it says Zion Williamson is an NBA basketball player. He lost in the playoffs. He's supposed to be really, really good for years and years and years. He's a brand new rookie player. It says Zion Williamson to spend offseason working on game and his body. Well, if he's a professional basketball player, that's exactly what he should be doing. So there's a headline on ESPN.com, an article somebody wrote explaining to its readers that Zion Williamson, who gets paid, what's that rookie contract? He got hit first, so he's getting paid $6-7 million a year. Guess what he's going to do in the offseason? He's going to work on his basketball game and his body because he's dedicated. No, he's a trained athlete, and that's what he should do. So you're getting he's getting rewarded for doing what you should do. It's unbelievable. There's NBA 2K21 news about how the game's going to control completely different. I don't understand this aiming thing. That's beside the point. And there's some article that I tried to read. It says predicted information catastrophe may be caused by fifth state, whatever. I don't even know what it means, but I read the article, and the information that's created by all of the electronics has a weight to it. And we could cause the earth to weigh more. And it could be catastrophic somehow. I did not understand the article at all. It's on inverse.com. I thought it was bullshit and being lied to. Oh, and speaking of bullshit, the vice president, I don't understand. I don't care what side you're on. I don't even know what side I'm on. But to have a vice president, Joe Biden got Kamala Harris to be his VP. And the way they talked about each other in the presidential debates in the past just shows you how full of shit everyone is. On every side, in the middle, on the right or left, you have someone who you despise. You have someone who you call a racist. You have someone who you say you believe they're sexual assault accusers. And then you're on their team a few years later? Like, were you wrong? And I saw some interview where, so he's a comedian. I can't remember his name. He's on Comedy Central. He asked her, so how could you fiercely go against somebody and then be friends with them, whatever? And she was like, it was a debate. And I'm like, no, that part wasn't. Where you called him a sex offender and a racist, that's not part of the debate. You can call it like his policies and just bring up the question, are you against black people? Because you didn't want buses to come pick them up. You shut down the buses at this point, whatever he did. You can bring that up, but to call him racist and then be his, I don't understand. It's just like kind of get in where you fit in kind of political strategy. And I don't know how much longer people are going to put up with it and just want people to like kind of shoot straight, which is why Donald Trump got elected in the first place, because he at least pretended to tell people like exactly how it is. He's like, I had all these politicians, these two-faced, I'll give it to you straight. You're going to know exactly who I am. And we did, and then it got kind of like, oh, well, I don't want the president, to me, I don't want the president insulting people, calling them names, being like, I want a presidential candidate that talks like Barack Obama, that speaks like him, that's nice and accepting, that he appears to be, but also like a tough guy when it comes to negotiations. I like how President Trump treats China. It's like, fuck them. They're a communist country. And they're stealing all of the intellectual property all over the planet and keeping. They have fake Apple stores in there. They don't give a fuck about anything. And I remember listening to podcasts who they have friends who work at Google, and they say, well, if we don't work with the Chinese government and then like help them instill like Google into their phones or whatever, they're just going to steal it anyway and call it something else or call it the same exact thing. So when you have a whole country like that, it's like, fuck them. Like you're not for freedom of speech. You're not for freedom for everybody. All that. And like there's no YouTube over there. There's no Instagram over there. They block all our apps. So we should block all of their apps. That's the way it is. Oh, okay. So you want to trade with them? That's fine. But it comes to a point where like, hey, we don't make 90% of our medicine over there. Make 20. 20 here, 20 there. You know, diversify. Americans always talk about diversifying your bonds, yet we don't diversify hardly anything. They're like, oh, they don't have to pay the children. They pay the children a few cents a day. Let's bring our factories over there. Why? Well, because in California, it's way too expensive to actually run a business because they tax you to death. So it incentivizes people to move their businesses overseas. So instead of paying Americans a good living wage, let's pay some Chinese people that we don't even know to make our Nike shoes and to make our cell phones. It's scary. But that is the podcast. My girlfriend's been gone for a week, so there is no gaming with girlfriends news. Playing Star Wars still, playing NBA 2K. My NBA 2K videos are my breakdown where I kind of like do a 2 or 3 hour search about different players who play in the NBA and kind of try to find interesting stories about them, their family history, their parents, and all that stuff. I don't know, just kind of interesting tidbits. I still do that. So if you're interested, YouTube channel, blah, 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 blah. You can just search my name, Chase Carter. And this has been the Chase Carter Concept Podcast. I hope I entertained you for at least 5 or 10 minutes. And then you guys probably tuned out, especially the women or the WNBA players that listen. I just like trashing women, to be honest with you. It's so fun. But I hope you guys had a good week or weekend. And I hope you guys have a good upcoming week. And until next week, you have a good one. Bye. You got this shit knocking low.